But my first touch point with Bitcoin must have been around 2011, because at the time I was working shift work. I was doing a full-time job. I was a police officer in the Metropolitan Police in London, and that's a whole new story we can get into in another day that I do. But prior to that, during my time in the police, I was in debt. I had a mortgage. I was fully tied into the sort of fiat dream, right? You buy a house, have a family, work hard, and you'll reap the rewards when you retire with a pension and all that sort of stuff. But that wasn't quite cutting it for me because the salary isn't that great in the police. And I started doing a night course to study to become a qualified electrician, just so I can sort of maybe have a second job if I needed it, or something to fall back on if, I didn't want to continue staying in the police. And that was already a question that I was asking myself at the time. And in this night course, the tutor that was teaching us this course started to get involved in crypto. And it was quite early back then. He was talking about, I don't know, I can't really remember what sort of cryptos were out at the time, but obviously Bitcoin was in existence. And he was talking to us about that quite often. And he encouraged a few of us to log on to this platform where we can buy these various cryptos. And I did that. I logged on and I bought things I didn't even know what they were. I didn't know what I was putting my money down towards, right? And I'm pretty sure, although I don't know for sure, I must have bought a little bit of Bitcoin back then. But my life carried on. I was doing my shifts. I completely forgot about it. I didn't even know or remember the platform that I even logged into at the time. So I must have lost Bitcoin. I don't want to dwell on that too much, but upon later in life, when my marriage fell apart, I moved out of the house. We had to sell the house. It was a whole dramatic thing where I had to sort of get rid of quite a lot of my assets. And it took me a while to sort of get back on my feet. And upon thinking about what it is that I can maybe do now in my life moving forward, was when I started to remember about these cryptos. And I thought, I wonder what it's doing now. And I saw that the price obviously increased quite a lot since then. And I just started then throwing money back in these things again, not knowing what they were. But luckily for me, I started doing a little bit more research and scratching beneath the surface more by doing research online. I read the Bitcoin Standard, and it was whilst reading the Bitcoin Standard, mid-air in flight on the way to Las Vegas to visit my wife's family, when the penny dropped for me. And I was like, okay, obviously the rest are scams. I was already sort of thinking about them being scams already before reading the Bitcoin Standard, but that really solidified it for me. And ever since, I've just fell down the Bitcoin rabbit hole to the point where I was at a London Bitcoin meetup. I was meeting a few familiar faces there that I've seen while going there a few times, and me and Joel connected straight away. And he was already established in the space before I ever was. And he was thinking about putting some content out there. And we said, do you know what? Why don't we just do it and give it a try? And that was the birth of Rabbit Hole Stories. And we haven't looked back ever since.